wanted to say hi and wish you a very happy Hanukkah. I hope you're having a great day. Bye-bye.
About a month ago, my mother-in-law sent my husband and me an article about a family who barely survived October 7th, hiding in their kibbutz in Israel with their 2 baby boys. She sent it to us because the parents of these boys, Dorin and Itamar Cohen, kept their 2-year-old son Adam quiet during many of those impossible hours by letting him listen to his favorite character, JJ from Cocomelon, sing him some songs. And that voice of JJ is my son, Cody. I sent Cody a text message right after reading the article with an excerpt, and I told him, "Don't ever think that what you do doesn't make a difference." Cody wanted to send Adam a message as JJ, which you all heard a part of just moments ago, but we needed to get in touch with the family. We quickly contacted the author of the piece, who connected us to Dorin. Adam was, of course, so happy to hear JJ talking directly to him, but what we really wanted to do was help this family that had lost everything, a family that we felt had gotten connected to us for a reason. We spoke to them over video chat and asked what we could do. Could we send them money, clothes, furniture? What did they need? It felt like what they really needed was a break and a fresh start. We said, "Come to us. Stay with us for a bit. Catch your breath and let us take care of you. Pretend we're your long-lost cousins in New Jersey." A few days later, flights were booked, and last Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning, 4 virtual strangers who felt like family walked into my kitchen, and I know all of our lives will never be the same. I would like to introduce you to the beautiful and strong mother of this family so you can hear her story. To me, she is a hero, and probably soon to all of you, although I know she'd prefer not to be. Dorin Cohen.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming tonight. I'm going to tell you a story about heaven. A heaven that turned dark one day. I am Dorin Cohen, and I'm here with my family from Kibbutz Kfar Aza in southern Israel. My husband Itamar and I met when we were in kindergarten in Ashkelon. He moved to Kfar Aza when he was in 1st grade and lived in that paradise until October 7. There was never even a thought when we got married that we would raise our children anywhere else, until now. We have 2 boys, 3 years old Adam and 7 months old Jonathan. Kfar Aza is a small and beautiful kibbutz, full of green spaces, chirping birds, and spectacular sunsets. Itamar used to run around the border of the kibbutz, which would have cost him his life if he had been out that terrible morning. From a very young age, the children roam freely around the kibbutz. We always felt a strong sense of security, even though from time to time there were Tzeva Adom sirens as rockets were launched toward us. But we were used to it and knew how to act accordingly. That was part of life in southern Israel. On Saturday, October 7, the morning of Simchat Torah, We were going to celebrate by holding our kite parade, also known as a Fifoniada. Each year, we flew kites, symbolizing peace near to the border, so our neighbors could watch. Ironic. But instead, at 6:30 a.m., sirens went off. We ran to the bomb shelter in our home, which was also Adam's bedroom, and sealed the door and the window. The children were still asleep. Suddenly, at 7 a.m., came the moment that changed our lives forever. From the bomb shelter window, we heard shouting in Arabic and gunshots. And that's when we realized that the terrorists had invaded our kibbutz. This was not part of life in Israel. At least not part of life in Israel we knew. Later we understood that the gunshot we heard had been fired by the terrorists who murdered our neighbors. We had heard the screams. We knew that what had happened. Our neighbor who survived are the 10-month-old twins orphans that many of you may have heard about. Itamar grew up with Hadar, their mother. The familiar scream we heard, her last sound. It was horrible. Fear permeated every bone of our bodies. I called the police and begged for help. Itamar ran into the bedroom and grabbed his handgun. The bomb shelter door didn't have a lock, so we moved Adam Bubu case to block the door. And then we waited. You don't know me, but I wasn't much of a religious person before of this day. But in Adam's room, in the bomb shelter, I opened Book of Psalm that was sitting on his bookshelf. I literally opened the middle of the book, Psalm 18, were the word before me, and the story of King David hiding in a cage from King Shaul. And it was dark, and he heard bombs outside, and he was describing the fire he saw. In print it said, "Bless me, God, who rescued me from my enemies and saved me from Hamas." I did not look for this passage. I had never read this word before, but they found me. And I'm here today because God did save me. During this time, the kibbutz WhatsApp group were reporting the terrorists in their homes, everywhere. And nobody was coming to help. We were hearing about the murdered. Ofir Lipstein, the head of our regional council. He was in charge in 11 kibbutzim in our area. Aviv Baram, one of our first responders. Yuval Salomon, Itamar's best friend. He turned 29 on October 6. We talk about how we would celebrate his 30th. Joke that we would have to shut down Tel Aviv for him. He lived in an area in the kibbutz that was for people aged 18 to 30. The entire area was killed or taken hostage. Excuse me. At 10 a.m., there was an electricity outage. We felt We were left in total darkness and with very little reception. Time passed, and it became difficult to keep the children quiet and stop them from crying. We told Adam there was a dangerous storm outside. What do you say to a 3-year-old? Slowly, the batteries in our phone were running out. But worse than that, the oxygen in the shelter was running out. In a situation where you already felt like you could not breathe, we could barely breathe. At 2 p.m., a small force of soldiers entered the kibbutz for the first time. We were sure that they would rescue us very soon. They had to. How could this be lasting so long? My parents felt helpless. They were 10 minutes away, but a ward apart. I emptied out a drawer in Adam's bed and held his sheets and sent my dad a picture. This is where Jonathan will be. My plan was that I would just put him in the drawer if something would happen to us. My dad could not reach us, so he got into his car with his pistol. He thought he could save us, but the army turned him back. Itamar's parents were stuck in their house, only 5 minutes' walk from us. The windows in their home were blown up, and they hid in their own bomb shelter. But they remained safe. After his parents were rescued by the army, the terrorists blew up their house, leaving the Shabbat Chala. Night came quickly that day. You might think time could move slowly in this situation, but it didn't. By 8 p.m., we could no longer breathe. No water, no food, no light, no oxygen. Just praying for our lives, for the lives of my babies. We decided to open the door of the bomb shelter to ventilate it a bit. Itamar crawled into the kitchen and brought some water and food. At 12 a.m., the terrorists invaded our house. They exploded a bomb in our home right outside of the shelter. The bookcase that held the door closed exploded into pieces and flew over Adam sleeping in his bed. Itamar, who was holding the door, was swept off his feet from the explosion, and his hand was injured. The terrorists shot in every direction with machine guns and set fire to the house. I was able to send last message to my parents, telling them that the terrorists had invaded our house, and the phone shut off, and we no longer had contact with anyone. Smoke seeped into the bomb shelter. I held the children to keep them from crying, so the terrorists would not hear us. Our apartment was 2 that had been put together, so we had 2 bomb shelters. This is also what saved us. We think the terrorists didn't realize we were still there. Itamar held the door handle, which had caught fire, to prevent them from entering. For several hours, we heard loud explosions and gunfire. We prayed. I just stared at the door handle and assumed when the terrorists entered, Itamar would die. I just stared at the door handle and assumed when the terrorists entered, Itamar would die killing some of them, and I would pick up the gun and fight to save my children. The sun came up, and we could see the light through the bullets' holes in the door. It became quiet, quieter than it had been. We heard the terrorists run into our house to hide from the Israeli army. It was also at this time where I had nothing else to feed Jonathan. I had been nursing him, but I had nothing in me. I was dehydrated and stressed, and my milk was gone. I thought he's going to die. I heard a jeep passing our house. I wanted to open the window and call for help. Itamar didn't want me to. He was afraid it wasn't safe, that we would be showing ourselves to the terrorists. But I heard Hebrew, and my baby needed help. I opened the window slowly and just stuck my hand through and wave and whistle. The soldiers thought everyone in our house was dead, so they started shooting at us. Maybe Itamar was right. A few hours later, at 11 a.m., after 28 hours in the bomb shelter, I heard another military jeep passing by our house. I told Itamar I was going to open the window and call for help, and I knew I had no choice. Jonathan was going to die soon if we did not get out. They thought they saw ghosts. Total shock. But they rescued us through the window of the bomb shelter. When we got outside, we saw our house in flames. The roof was destroyed, walls gone, everything gone, but not us. We were still standing there. As it turns out, the explosion we'd heard at night were missiles that the army had fired at the terrorists in our house. They believed that we were dead. All the neighbors who came out at night and saw our house looking like a huge ball of fire were already mourning us. As we drove away in the jeep, we saw our paradise in flames. The beautiful green spaces now black. A dead body to my right, to my left, all around us. The smell of death is in the air. We arrived at the gas station where all the survivors from our kibbutz were taken. It was like we're back from the dead. From there, we were evacuated to Kibbutz Shfaim. All the survivors from our kibbutz are there and will probably be there for a long time to come. 68 dead, 18 hostages, 11 have been returned, 2 were killed, 5 are still being held hostage. One of those is my dear friend Dorin. The last I heard from her was a voice message on October 7, where she said, "They cut me, they cut me." In the background, the terrorists are screaming Allahu Akbar. On October 7, I made a deal with God, and I believe He saved us. I told Him that I would keep Shabbat, keep kosher, keep all the Jewish holidays. And I was not a religious person, not before this. But now, I will tell you, I believe God is the reason that I am here today. Dealing with this kind of horror and tragedy has been a struggle for all of us. Even telling my story feels like I'm talking about someone else. Our lives are forever changed. My baby cries when it's dark and shrieks when he's hungry, different than he was. Itamar and I started smoking again after not smoking for years. Adam talks to his friend about how his house was destroyed, and he's always hiding from the bad people. I do not know what the future holds right now. I do not want to go back to Kfar Aza, our forever home. I came here to the state because maybe this will be our home. I don't know. I want a place we can make new roots, new memories. A place that it is our, not borrowed, not destroyed. Safe. For today, I'm grateful to be here, alive, to be here with all of you. October 7 took many people away from us that we love, people that were murdered, burned, raped, abused, and kidnapped. If you pray, please pray for the hostages that remain in Gaza to return home. I pray for my best friend Dorin and all other 132 hostages to come home immediately. We lived in fear 28 hours, and the hostages are going on 96 days. We need to do more than just say to bring them home. We need to actually bring them home. Every minute counts. And if you do not pray, maybe think about it. Because I do think God can hear you. Thank you.